This is the true story of the bravest Navy personnel to ever serve Australia. For this submarine served alongside the Anzacs, who were at war with the Ottoman Turks, because our Anzacs were about to land on the shores of the Gallipoli Peninsula. Its mission was to run amok behind enemy lines by attacking troop carriers, and most importantly, diverting the Ottoman Navy away from our boys trying to take the beaches. The problem was, they had to get through this, the Dardanelles Strait. One of the issues was, this place was absolutely chock-a-block full of sea mines. What's more, it had more than 16 forts all armed to the teeth with guns like this. If this wasn't enough, every previous attempt to get through here was met with absolute disaster. So how the blazes did the Australian submarine get through? Captain Stoker and his crew advanced into the Dardanelles Strait at 2:30 under cover of darkness. He got to about here before the Turkish fort saw him and started to shoot. Here's where things go totally insane, because he dived straight into a minefield. One of his crew counted 18 times that the wires of these mines scraped across the outside of the sub. Now let's have the visuals and that sound again, and imagine you were in the submarine, getting shot at the same time. After this, the crew surfaced and was spotted by another fort who started to shoot at them again. But they still managed to fire a cheeky torpedo and then get the hell out of there. I kid you not. In their haste to escape the pursuing Navy and the fort's guns, they accidentally ran aground not once but twice. Now this should have been their end, because they were directly underneath a fort. But their luck held once again, because the guns could not be angled down to their level to hit them. But it doesn't mean they didn't try. Now when they got off the bank and back into deeper water, the crew of the AE2 was still being chased by enemy ships. So they waited for 16 hours on the bottom before rising to the surface. They had achieved the impossible. They had broken through. After messaging High Command that they had been successful, then they really started to run amok. See, whenever they sighted a fishing boat in their periscope, they went out of their way to hoist the British naval flag over their sub and sail merrily by. They did this so often, they were spotted over here and over here and over here. On top of this, whenever the AE2 saw a military ship of any sort, it made sure to take pot shot after pot shot after pot shot. Because of all of these activities, the Ottomans started to fear that there might be more than just one. Remember earlier how I said they radioed back about their success? An English sub soon followed using their same route. So what the Ottoman Turks feared actually became a reality, because now there were two. The end came for our valiant little submarine when she was trying to fire one of her last torpedoes at an Ottoman ship called the Sultanheiser. Unfortunately, this ship managed to hit her with one of her guns. Now, whilst this was the end for our little AE2 submarine, it was not the end of its crew, for they scuttled their sub and all jumped overboard, every single one of them. The whole crew of 35 was then imprisoned for the rest of the war. Out of this 35, only 4 died. As for the rest, everyone made it home. But for me, it's not just all these harrowing things that happened to them on their journey that made them the bravest. There are several things that set these guys apart. Firstly, they knew what was ahead of them. It was in all the newspapers at the time, but they still jumped into their submarines and just went for it. Secondly, remember how I said every previous attempt had ended in disaster? One of those attempts was actually theirs the night before. But because of severe mechanical failure, they were forced to bail out. But even with all the doubts they would have had, they still jumped into their sub and got it done. And thirdly, the crew of the AE2 and that of her sister were the first of her kind ever to serve Australia. And this fact makes them all the more extraordinary. If you want to see this memorial yourself, it can be found in the Ruth Whitfield Park over near Kalanga. May their bravery never be forgotten, lest we forget. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell notification. Cheers. Thanks.